What up, y'all? This is episode 2 of the study. Bones and Deuce here saying what's up.
Back at it.
Yeah, man. So going back to episode 1 real quick, we briefly talked about the stand-up to Verizon.org. As I mentioned, I was driving on Richmond Highway and I saw these workers on strike outside. So I had to handle some business and I came back to talk to them and see what exactly they was. Apparently, Verizon Wireless CEO makes over 200 times as much as the average Verizon worker. Now, this is not uncommon in the United States that CEOs make this much more money than people, and they do far less hours, far less actual contribution to the work and what actually gets put out. And it says here, in addition to getting paid over $18 million per year by its parent company, Verizon Wireless's CEO also receives perks like the use of a corporate jet. Another reason they're protesting is because management is refusing to give raises to wireless workers. Why? Verizon Wireless, apparently their management refuses to raise retail workers' pay or improve benefits by stonewalling negotiations for a fair first contract at wireless stores in Brooklyn and Massachusetts. They know that if wages and benefits improve for unionized workers at those retail stores, then they will likely have to raise wages for all of their retail workers. At the same time as management refuses to improve wages or benefits for retail workers, they also refuse to offer fair wage or benefit increases for technicians who maintain the wireless network to fucking begin with. Verizon Wireless is the most profitable part of a company that makes over $1.5 billion a month in profits. The company can afford fair wages and benefits for wireless workers. They're not doing it. Inequality and corporate greed are out of control. So again, these people on Richmond Highway and beyond are protesting against Verizon Wireless's corporate greed. If you want to stand up and support them, you don't have to get out there and picket in the streets. You don't have to donate a whole bunch of money. Learn about what they're doing. Find out how you can get involved. Go to www.standuptoverizon.org. Anyways, today's episode 2, so we're going to be talking about something a little bit less depressing. Last episode we talked about Michael Moore's Where to Invade Next and all the different things that other countries are doing that we could be adapting in the United States. Today we're going to talk about sports. So what up, sports fans? We're going to be talking about all the reasons and all the ways that sports finds its way into our homes. Not just professional sports, not just money-making sports, but how it applies to our kids and our playtime and our recreational time. So Deuce, sports, man. Are you a sports fan?
I am a sports fan.
In what sense would you say?
I would say in the sense of I like sports, and it almost stops there. I don't get too involved with any of them. I'd rather play them myself.
Yeah, and I think that's the key point, is getting involved and enjoying the sports.
Right, and I'd rather play them myself or support those that I know play the sports.
Yeah, I think a lot of the focus on sports in this country particularly is on professional sports and quote-unquote professional, and I say that because the word professional is in general used to implicate a level of higher moral conduct. You're a professional. I'm not going to stoop down to that level. I'm a professional. Professional sports to me are the opposite. You got grown men running around in shorts playing with a ball. Okay?
Tights.
That's all sports is. Grown-ass men and women running around in tights playing with a ball and getting paid millions for it.
What's that one short blurb? It talks about sports as a distraction.
Yeah.
And what we've made it to become.
Okay. Yeah. And that's a strange thing. There's a strange thing in this country is how serious we take sports and how little we actually enjoy them. Sometimes we put a lot of pressure. I want to read this this image that I saw.
It's time!
The quote goes like this: "Sports fanaticism is when men have no real team to exact change in their environment. They are doing nothing to help the human condition. So rather than busting a nut of real change, assembling a real team, they get theirs by essentially masturbating over the accomplishments of greater men who don't give a shit about them and who are not even great enough to have a positive impact on the human condition. History," the quote continues, "history proves over and over that when this type of fanaticism reaches pinnacle, so does political tyranny. The quote concludes, sports fanaticism is the diversion of the divine masculine will. Google bread and circuses and tell me I'm wrong," end quote. Now, there's a lot to take in there. And again, we're not saying that we agree with that particular point of view, but it does bring up a lot of very relevant and strong points. Like one of the funnier, probably more harsh points came from what's her name, Amy Schumer's movie called Trainwreck. She is asked in the movie to interview this sports guy, and she doesn't want to do it because she says, and I don't remember verbatim the quote, she's like, I just believe that people who follow sports are just lesser people or lower people. And I'm like, that's funny because a lot of people do take it to that degree. And she walks into this guy's office, and on the wall there's a jersey, and lots of people have their favorite player's jersey on the wall, or they wear it with their name. And she's like, what does it mean when you wear another man's jersey? Like, does that mean like you're in jail and you're his bitch? Like so fanaticism.
Ouch.
Yeah. So, and again, we're not saying we look at sports fans like that, but again, professional sports are a very different, toxic, corrupt aspect of sports in general. You know what I mean?
Just to interject, that is what I want people to look up. Bread and circuses. That is a very interesting take on sports and just the mindset of professional athletes in today's age and time. It boggles my mind. I mean, I love sports, as I said, but certain things, I just think, if I'm being paid multi-million dollars to catch a football, I almost should be catching every football. It's like there's no room for error, in my opinion. It's not that there shouldn't be. It's just there should be some type of penalty, maybe. Every time you drop the football, you lose $2,000.
Yeah, in other jobs, when you don't do your job properly, you face repercussions. You see fines, some kind of punishment, stuff like that. It's not the case of professional sports, so I don't see that as being a very professional thing. But one thing, not to get totally sidetracked, but Smedley Butler, who was the most highly decorated Marine at the time of his death a long time ago, wrote that piece, War is a Racket, and he mentioned how to end wars and corruption in wars is to take the profit out of it. Now, what does that have to do with sports? Taking the profit and the large amounts of money that flow through something out of it will cause a great change. Imagine just for 1 second if these, quote unquote professional athletes were not paid millions of dollars to play these sports. What if, just imagine for a second, what if all professional athletes made the same money, same salary as teachers, Verizon's wireless employees, bus drivers, trash men, chefs, things like that. What if professional sports players made the same money? How many would you see drop the game? How many people would be exposed as only playing for the millions of dollars in the riches and stuff? You'd see a large change in professional sports by taking the profit out of it. Now, there are many arguments to sports. On one side, you have people that say, well, sports is a family thing. It brings families together. It brings people together. Look at all these people in the stadium. We're all happy. We're all under this one banner. On the opposite extreme, you've got, fanaticism, where people are indoctrinating and brainwashing their kids to show a loyalty to a group of men they've never met, or a group of women they've never met, who don't care anything about them, who just play with the ball, and they get emotionally involved with the wins and the losses, and they argue about rivalries and bitch about, my team's gonna beat your team, and we personalize it. We make it so internally a part of our lives that it literally poisons us from the inside out. Now, again, I'm not saying that sports are a bad thing, professional sports are a bad thing. I'm just saying there are two very extreme sides of the spectrum. On one side, yes, in a lot of ways it does bring families together and communities together, and on the other end, it is highly toxic how deeply we let it get involved in our life. So we're going to talk about all those things. One of the things we talked about professional sports. One of the things I want to talk about real quick is literally and children enjoying these games that they are, sort of manipulated into believing that one day maybe it can be a dream job for them, and that's a whole nother level of bullshit we'll come back to another day. But kids enjoying the game. On Michael Jordan's IMAX film, he said one thing. He gave one tip to parents about kids who are interested in playing basketball. He says, let them learn how to enjoy the game. And I think that's so critical.
So important.
Shout out to all the coaches who are really showing these kids a good time and really making time and showing genuine support for little people trying to just enjoy their childhood, because the world is a real serious place. There's a lot of shit that touches really close to home no matter what age you are. I think a lot of the aspects that you and I grew up with as far as our childhood, like playing outside unsupervised, you know, being able to go trick-or-treating unsupervised and not having to worry about all these things. I think that childhood is gone, and I think our generation might be the last generation that got to experience a real, genuine childhood. I think there's so many stigmas with like regard to predators and kidnapping and bullying and drugs and, you know, all kinds of things where people are fearing for their kids' safety, that in a lot of ways, including sports, kids are not enjoying themselves. They're pressured to win. They're pressured to succeed. They're pressured to be the best.
They're on that schedule.
Yeah, and it becomes daunting for these little brains, these little people who just want to enjoy the game and have these memories with these friends and, you know, be lifted up on a pedestal like, yeah, we won, victory. They deserve things like that. Like, children deserve that excitement, that magic that comes from the game, and shaking hands afterwards and like, you know, you guys played great, you know, wow, I've never seen anybody move as fast as you. Like, that's one thing I remember when I was playing house league basketball. One of our toughest opponents, he and I, after my team beat his team, we shook hands. We talked about, man, like you're a fucking beast. So we didn't talk like that. We talked about how hard it was. Like we thought you guys were gonna take it. I can't believe we won. And the team that we beat, their star player, who I got him to foul out, and it was because of that. Not trying to toot my own horn, but I turned the end of the game into a victory for our team on the defensive move because he was a far better offensive player. He came to our championship game to support us. And things like that are missing in sports because kids are, through no fault of their own, it's in their environment, whether it comes from their parents, their uncles, TV, the other kids. Kids are nasty when it comes to losing. They can be incredibly cruel and spiteful when it comes to not knowing what it means to be a sportsman. Sportsmanship is getting lost, and it's being replaced by competition and winning it. And I just think right now kids are not enjoying
it's not a wholesome experience
as much as they should be.
That's what's making it tough. It's not a wholesome experience because competition is important. It kind of pulls something out of you to challenge the other person, and also more importantly challenge yourself. When no one else is around, what are you doing to improve? What are you doing to master? But those other aspects, enjoying the game, sportsmanship, they are necessary to the point where they are what help children and individuals operate outside, off the court, off the field, outside of the ring, and that is highly needed. These are things that we need to look at while they're children. To make sure that they're learning, to make sure that they're enjoying the game, to realize that it's more so about their motor skills, and them expanding the horizon on their bodies, not so much look to become the next whomever, fill in the blank in basketball, football, soccer, baseball, tennis, golf, any of that. It's that ability to expand the horizon on their physical capabilities. I mean, yes, we teach kids how to read, but after we teach them how to read, we show them that reading is involved in mathematics, science, civics, history, biology. You pick it. Money, working, reading a resume, reading a synopsis, enjoying a movie that has subtitles. Reading, that's how reading comes across the board. So when it comes time to learning about sports, teach your son, teach your daughter, please teach them how to catch a ball. Teach them how to throw a ball, not just so that they can go on and become professional athletes, but because nobody wants to be the kid or the adult that doesn't know how to catch.
And you talk about skills like, you know, teach your kids how to throw a ball, catch a ball. We're not just talking about like those skills just to learn those skills. We're talking about like becoming a better version of yourself, like mastering challenges, things that come in your way that make you feel like you're going to lose, that are going to defeat. Like that's what one thing I think sports can bring out of people. Like obviously cooperation, there's nothing better than cooperation. There's a saying that is circulates in the Venus Project circles during these discussions that we have, where competition brings out the beast in us while cooperation brings out the best in us. And I think that's one of the toxins in sports, that the competition gets out of control. And I think, like you say, learning how to throw and catch a ball, being that kid who is just not good at a sport, can be detrimental to somebody, because when you don't have support from like the coaches, the teams, and the other teams, where they say, you know what, it's fine, you're gonna get there, trust me, I used to be where you are, you're gonna be great, you're doing fine, you're learning, you know, I'm proud of you for not quitting. We have people who are like, get out of here, you're cut, or like, you didn't do well enough, or like, you suck, I'm better than you. So we are not encouraged often enough as kids these days to fail, to enjoy losing, to learn from losing. And like I said, when we don't teach our kids those skills, they don't know how to apply it later on in life to other challenges. Like, it's not about the sport, it's about what the aspect of not quitting, not giving up, working with your team, working together, like to defy all odds. You're down by 10 with 1 quarter to go, and you somehow pulled it through because of teamwork, because of unity. You can apply those lessons you learn in sports later on in life, in your personal and professional. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's, you made a lot of really good points there about like how the effects of sports can actually trickle down into a person's real life in very positive or negative ways, you know? Yeah.
Very much so. So you got to take that into account when we're thinking about how you just said competition versus cooperation.
Yeah.
I mean, you take 2 kids that are cooperating, one may be excellent at basketball and the other one may be subpar. Yeah. But as they cooperate, they can become a force to be reckoned with.
On and off the court.
On and off the court. That means that now, let's take it off the court. The kid that's subpar in basketball may be superb in chess, and the other kid that's superb in basketball is subpar or not knowledgeable of chess.
Yeah.
Because they were cooperating in one place, they are able to comfortably cooperate in the next place of chess. But when you throw in that competition and it creates a nastiness, a tease, you know, I did better than you, I'm better than you, it creates a reluctance as well. It creates a resentment in the sense of, off the court, I may not want to be around you.
Right.
I don't want to help you in that situation. Oh, you have a test coming up you need to study for? You're not going to get my help. Actually, I'm just going to try to beat you on the test.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying, hey, let's work on this together to try and improve. And you're talking about at young ages. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're talking about before they really have a lot of prejudices or biases or stress or anxieties, jobs. Hello.
You know, you talk about time, and like one of the things that I think affects Little League sports is the amount of time that adults now can and can't put into it. Because obviously this day and age we're working a lot more. Some people working 2, 3, 4 jobs, ridiculous hours. We don't have the energy anymore that we used to, where we were working 1 job that can pay, you know, for what now 2 incomes pays for, where we could make time to go to our kids' events, where we had enough energy to go to our kids and support them. Now people are so stressed out by work and the amount of time that they spend making money so that they don't starve, that we often leave our kids to go with their coaches, with their friends. And it's not a bad thing. It's great that they have that support, but it used to be a very family thing where the parents would show up at the game just like the coaches, just like the friends. And we used to be able to make time for each other. And I think people now are so heavily worked up on making money and making ends meet that we don't get to enjoy sports for a lot of reasons. It's not just that because we've become complacent or stupid, or just because, you know, the leagues are failing us, the schools and stuff like that. I think there's just a lot of reasons we can't enjoy it. One more thing I want to talk about with sports is, I think a lot of the things that we could teach the youth is that there are more sides to professional sports than just, wow, look what they can do. Hey, who won the game last night? I think, for example, like the money, well, with regard to, for example, FIFA, the last World Cup displaced so many people. Thousands of people lost their homes for that stadium to get built, where for just a couple of weeks, a bunch of teams of grown men from all across the world are going to run around in tight shorts and kick a ball on grass. And then after that, the stadium, it doesn't get used. Like, it doesn't go back to the community.
Even if it does get used, let's say that stadium was going to be used, we'll say 6 months, 10 months out of the year. It's not going to be used as a home.
Yeah.
It's going to be used for, you know, the extracurricular activities of the professional lifestyle of soccer players and whatever other sport could go into that, but the actual homes of
it's
people
crazy.
have been taken away permanently for the sake of a stadium.
Temporary enjoyment. I don't see how that adds. It's not worth it to me in any sense. Like, yes, the game of soccer is great, sports are great, but at the expense of tens of thousands of people who are already in an impoverished and very third world part of Brazil and Rio, where they hosted the event, they already have enough trouble. Now they're being displaced so a stadium can be built for these people to play games. And FIFA is very, very corrupt. I mean, they're all about money and selling, games and products and making money off of that. Whereas none of that money goes back to Brazil or Rio, for example, where they had the last World Cup, and to help build the community. It doesn't go to them. It goes to FIFA, whose CEOs and people were under investigation. That's a whole other story. But like FIFA, for example, and Chris Rock during one of his stand-ups talked about like Shaq. People think Shaq is rich. Nah, Shaq is rich, but the rich white man that signs his checks is wealthy. And they talked about the difference between, and that's very true. Like, we got to talk to our kids about more than just the surface of these professional sports. Like, yes, they're great, skilled people. The things that they do are amazing. But at the end of the day, what do they do for us? What do they do for our community with these millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars and these fortunes that these, not just the players, but these teams and owners amass? What does that really do for our community? Ask yourself, ask your kids, what do they give back to us? What do we get from this?
You just, you have to think about that when we get into these sports. We take our hats off to the coaches and to the people that we know that are involved in sports, whether a kid or an adult. I mean, something I like to hear about sometimes is my peers, my own adult friends that are involved in some type of sport.
Little league coaching, sporting,
or
sponsoring.
They play softball themselves as grown men and women, not so much because they're looking to go to the league, but because they want to keep their body spry. They want to stay sharp. They want to stay agile. They enjoy it. They don't just want to go to work and come home.
It's not an ego thing.
They're not looking to maybe be the next bodybuilder of the century. But they want to make sure that their bodies are in good working order and have a good time with new people, new faces. Throughout their life. They had a good time playing in Little League soccer. They had a good time playing in high school basketball, in college football. They now want to take that to, hey, while I'm doing my 9 to 5, when I have that time, I'm going to join this league with some other people. They don't have to be my friends initially, but they may become my friends, become my new teammates, my comrades, my brothers, my sisters, because we share that common interest of enjoying the game.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, because that's really what it is. We give it that power. It's not there. We can turn it off anytime. We can decide how many hours, how much money we spend on these jerseys, on the tickets. We make those decisions. Our dollar is our vote. So if you want to take the power out of professional sports, you got to be smart about how you spend your dollars. But there's a lot of stuff about sports, we didn't get to. So, we're going to start wrapping it up for the study episode 2. If you have comments, you have questions, disagreements, please feel free to comment. Email, and then let us know what you think about the study, and let us know what you think about what we talked about. Your 2 cents. If you have a story you want to share, if you're a coach, or if you're a player, or if you used to be a player, if you have some experience with sports, professional, college, little league, volunteer, any kind, write us a comment, let us know what you think, and bring this discussion in your home. Talk to your kids about enjoying the game, and you yourself, as an adult, to all the adults and parents listening, get off the couch every now and then. Play catch with your kids. Get out there, go for walks. It's good for you, it's good for them. We're not trying to tell you how to raise your kids, live your life, but the whole point of sports to me, honestly, is to enjoy the game, enjoy what it brings to you, not to think about what you get from it. I think that's what's missing. Deuce, any last words?
I think I said enough. You guys take care, be safe, keep playing those sports, and we'll see you next time.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
George is right back. Miami gets back, and George in the face of Bosch, serving up